Welcome, everyone, to the Better Love Movement podcast, where you will finally learn how to intentionally do dating and relationships right. My name is Anita Stoudemire, and I'm a licensed professional therapist and your personal love mentor. I've worked with thousands of singles and couples, giving them the skills needed to attract and keep the amazing love they desire. It's my heart's work to help people to get the skills needed to not only become the very best versions of themselves, but to help them grow and evolve emotionally and relationally. You can absolutely have the romantic relationship of your dreams. Come and let me show you how. Hey everybody, it's Anita again, back this week with the Better Love Movement podcast. And we are in episode number 103. We are just rolling along towards the end of the year. And I had a listener who wanted me to talk a little bit about this week's podcast episode. She wanted to know all about covert narcissism. So, episode 103 is entitled, What Exactly is Covert Narcissism? Okay, so a lot of you, quite a few of you, know everything there is to know about narcissism and what a narcissistic person is. Like, what are some of the signs and some of the traits? So, most of the time when we talk about narcissism or people who are narcissists, we're talking about overt narcissists, right? So they are, to me, overt narcissists are very over the top. They're easy to spot. And I get a little confused sometimes when people tell me they fall into the overt narcissist web like over and over and over with different people, because I just honestly believe they're just so easy to spot. Like, it's not hard to get that vibe, to get that feeling. So it always surprises me when people say, oh, I've been in several relationships with narcissistic men or, men who are overt narcissists. And I'm thinking, how? Like, were you not paying attention? Because it's so easy, to kind of pick them out of a crowd. And if you have good high standards and you have done those exercises that I've given you, it's pretty easy to spot a narcissist. So I don't get it when people tell me, oh, I have this history of relationships with narcissists, especially overt narcissists. But here's the thing about what we're going to talk about today. There is another kind of form of narcissistic trait. And remember, I have to preface this episode by saying not every person out there is suffering from the DSM personality disorder, the DSM diagnosis, which is narcissistic personality disorder. So not every person who is exhibiting these signs of narcissism, they're not effectively being diagnosed with the DSM disorder. We went through that last year, and I believe the year before, where everybody was a narcissist. Like, it annoyed me to no end, because that is a DSM diagnosis. It's a personality disorder. And, truth be told, all these people that we claim are narcissists, they did not fit the DSM diagnosis. So no, not everyone is a narcissist. Some people are just, jerks. Some people are just, selfish people, Some people are broken. A lot of people are broken. And they're wounded. They have healing to do. They have childhood wounds. They have, they're wounded. That's most people, if you want to know my personal opinion. And here's the thing a lot of people don't talk about. So we all have some form of narcissistic trait. Like, we all have some form of narcissism, right? If you feel good about yourself, if you have healthy self-esteem, if you've ever been like a teenager and went through this phase where you really truly believe the world revolved around you, like everyone in the world was put here to serve you and you were just naturally entitled. I live with 3 teenagers / young adult people. And so that is definitely the world I've been in for some time now, where I'm just looking at them like, really? Like, what is happening? And I almost believe it's my job as a parent to break that, so that my kids don't leave my home kind of in that same state, that it's my job to kind of break them of that narcissistic view of just everything revolves around them, and that sense of entitlement, that sense of, I'm super important and, I'm special and everybody should wait, I should go first and everybody should wait on me. I feel like it's kind of my job to break that out of them so that they understand that when you get out into the world, no one cares about you. Like, no one cares that much about you. So what you have happening here at home with your parents, we love you unconditionally, but once you get on the other side of that door, other people don't feel that way. So I feel like, I try to introduce my children to that so that they understand, look, I want you to practice some of this stuff now, so you're not in shock once you get on the other side of that door and people are expecting you to not always, every single time, it's all about you and all about what you want and need every single time, because that's just not how the world works. So believe it or not, I think we all have some narcissistic trait, but that doesn't mean we qualify for the DSM diagnosis of narcissistic personality disorder. And here's another thing I don't like about this. I think when we classify the men that we have dated or, our exes as narcissists, we then have to take the role of their victim. And that's what I don't like. I will be transparent in this episode. So my ex-husband, I believe he qualifies under the DSM diagnosis of narcissistic personality disorder. I know where it comes from. It comes from his wounded childhood. It comes from his dependent mother. His mother has this dependent personality disorder. So it comes from her. It comes from wounds in his childhood. I know where it comes from, and it's being fed continuously. So from childhood on up, that those narcissistic traits, instead of his mother breaking him of that, she has actually fed that monster. And so he has become emboldened, like it's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And so he's had he's had several marriages and divorces. He has several children. And, he's kind of like a cat. He always seems to land on his feet. And so you have to understand that when the narcissist has these close calls with people, or relationships don't work out, or they get in trouble with the law, or, they have money troubles, when they land on their feet, a lot of times that just emboldens them. That just affirms, their narcissism, that they're different and they're special and people treat them special and different and they're entitled to special treatment and all of that. So yes, I was married to a narcissistic personality disorder person, but I am no victim. Like, I am nobody's victim. I don't, run around talking about that all the time. I'm going to be transparent in this episode. But no, that's not something that I watch videos on every day, all day, or listen to podcasts. I just don't. I think that's counterproductive, if you want to know the truth. I think it's counterproductive to, even if you were in a relationship with a person with narcissistic personality disorder or narcissistic trait, if you get free of that, I think it's counterproductive to keep talking about that, to keep reading about that, watching videos about that. Quite frankly, because I'm a law of attraction person, I believe you're simply going to attract another narcissist. So I think once you get free of that, you walk away from all of that. You do whatever's necessary to heal and grow and learn. But you don't keep talking about that. You walk away from that. Like, you're done with that, right? So it's just like if you had a problem with drugs or alcohol. Sometimes you have to change your circle of friends. You don't go to bars. You don't go to places where alcohol is being served. You kind of walk away from that. You don't need to continue to be around that and talk about that and look at that and listen to that. No, I don't. I will never co-sign that. I think you walk away from that. You decide that, I'm free of that. I've gotten free of that. You can maybe, tell that story where it's appropriate to tell it. Some people may write about it, and that's fine too, however you want to tell your story. But I've always had this issue with people who they are so firmly attached to stories like that they're defined by it. Like, I'm never going to fully buy into that. I believe that things happen to us throughout our life and we overcome them. They don't define who we are. We don't take on the shame of that thing. It just happened. And we talk about it when it's appropriate or when it's necessary, but it's not something we're defined by. We don't talk about it day and night to anybody who will listen. And yeah, I just think that's counterproductive. That's counterproductive for moving forward. So it's really important that if you have been in relationship with someone with narcissistic traits, or if they maybe have been diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, yes, healing is most definitely, on deck. You got to heal and process through everything that happened. But I often say, okay, but walk away from that. And in my case, I have 3 children by him. So there was, but so much walking away because I had to still be in relationship with him because of the 3 children that I had. The younger they were, the more difficult it was. We are now almost at the end of our co-parenting journey. So it's gotten exponentially better. And I'm about to kind of close that door. I'm not going to lock it because, again, we share 3 children who are now young adults. So, I can't officially lock that door. Some days I wish I could, but that door will be closed. I will not be communicating much. I will not be reaching out much. Like, why? I'm kind of done. But it has now gotten a lot better. And it's because of some of the tools and some of the techniques that I learned throughout the years. The first maybe 5 to 7 years were very hard, very difficult co-parenting with this person, but they have slowly but surely gotten better. I believe my faith played a part in that. I thank God that I know God, that I walk with Jesus, because that helped me a lot. But really, the most important thing I can tell you, if you've dealt with anybody who has narcissistic traits, is it's about you. It's not about them. And if you continue to make it about them, if you continue to say, why can't they change? Why can't they be different? Why are they like this? And why are they like that? You will never get free. It is not about them. And the truth is, they're going to keep doing what they do. It's highly unlikely that they're going to get to a good, healthy, healed place. Highly unlikely. So once you embrace that, and if you're a person like me who actually believes people can change, that was a hard sell, but I finally embraced it. I was like, this is it. This is what it is. This man will never, I actually use the word never, kind of get healed from this. I think this is what we're dealing with. And, once I embraced that and I focused on me, I focused on changing, I focused on growing, then I started noticing things getting better. Everything was getting better. But keep in mind, as a classic codependent, it's not surprising that I attracted a narcissistic person, because those two go together like peanut butter and jelly, right? They go together. So the narcissist asks their partner, forget about your needs, forget about your wants and desires, and just focus on me, and the codependent is more than happy to do that. They say, what can I do for you? How can I serve you? It's all about you. So those two people go together. It wasn't a surprise that that's what happened. And, it took 3 to 5 years of just me unpacking all of that and really processing through all of that to really understand that. I'm still, understanding it day by day, but it's not something I focus on at all. But today, we're going to talk about covert narcissism and some of the traits of these covert narcissists. And interestingly enough, I believe the last person I dated had some of these traits. Would I say he was a narcissist? Probably not, but he definitely had some of these covert narcissistic traits. What attracted us to each other were the fact that we were fellow codependents. So that felt very familiar because I was like, wow, this person feels really familiar to me. Like I've known them my whole life. But a lot of it's because we both had that codependent nature. We both, it was like looking in a mirror, truthfully, it was like looking in a mirror. So that's really what drew me to that person. And as our relationship progressed and as time progressed, that's when I was able to see there's some signs of covert narcissism here, and it's not pretty, So one, being in a relationship with a codependent is not fun. I should know because I was one. And then two, once these covert narcissism traits started to pop up, that really made it not fun. So, but that relationship was really, really good in the sense of it taught me so much. Like I got so much further down the road on my journey to healing by being in that relationship. As painful as it was, it was a blessing. It was a blessing. And I recently told him that I am so thankful that I had this relationship, that I went through some of the things that we went through, and none of them were horrible, but I needed that. Like it was a wake-up call to me that there were some things that I wanted to do differently, and I hadn't quite fully embraced them yet, but in this relationship, finally, I got to fully and completely embrace my femininity, which was amazing. I got to fall back into my feminine energy. I got to heal a lot of my codependency. Well, I had done work on that prior to this relationship, but this relationship, again, was like a mirror. So it really offered a lot of healing to me, especially over this last year. But we're going to talk today about covert narcissism. These people have some narcissistic trait, but it's kind of sneaky. It kind of sneaks in there on you. And initially, when you meet them and you date them, it doesn't seem like narcissism, but I'm going to give you 11 traits that these people have. And I want you to just think to yourself, okay, is the person I'm in relationship with now, or maybe someone I'm dating, and am I seeing some of these signs, okay? So, number one, the covert narcissist is extremely sensitive. He is emotionally delicate, okay? So the littlest of things will set him off. He is very sensitive. And so, men in general who, to me, come off as extremely sensitive, that's just kind of a yellow flag to me. That's not something that I find attractive. I like a man who has more of a stern masculine frame. I like a more unbothered man. And men who are just like petty almost, like the silliest of things really bother them. I just find that to be a total turnoff. But be aware of a man who is very emotionally delicate. Number two, covert narcissists can be highly critical of others. Okay, so they are going to nitpick and call out different things about people or situations or circumstances. They may be kind of cranky, like every little thing, is a problem, but they are highly critical. And here's the truth of the matter. They're critical of others because they're critical of themselves. So all of that, talking about everybody else or gossiping about everybody else, you can best believe that's what's going on inside of their head. Like they're talking about themselves, what they're doing or not doing, or they're not tall enough, they're not skinny enough, they're not whatever enough. They're doing that to themselves as well. And so that's a clear sign that a person isn't completely happy in their life when they're very critical of others. Okay. Number 3, they have a quiet smugness. So unlike the covert narcissist who is very outwardly, like, I'm better than you, I'm better than everybody else, and oh, look at these people, they're beneath me. A covert narcissist is going to be a little, he's going to be a little bit quieter about it. He's going to, he's just not going to be as outwardly, smug, but you'll sense it. You'll sense a sense of superiority, but it won't be in an overt way, right? So yeah, this is one of those things. And then sometimes they will even come off like, they will kind of come off humble. They'll kind of give this air of, oh, humility, I'm so humble, but not really. So be aware. Okay. Sometimes they will call themselves like openly, verbally beating themselves up or, criticizing themselves verbally, but really it's about other people. And they do have this quiet, like, superiority thing going on. It's an interesting dichotomy. Okay. Number 4, they have a constant need for reassurance. Ugh. First of all, this is exhausting. If I am dating a man or I meet a man and I get this feeling that he needs constant reassurance, again, it is not a healthy masculine trait. It's more of a feminine energy trait. And it's a turnoff. A man who is like, oh, does this jacket look good? Are these pants fitting right? What should I order on the menu? Or maybe I shouldn't have that. Or what do you think about my car? Or what do you think about? Ugh. It's exhausting. People like that are exhausting. And one of my memories of just this whole idea of this constant need for reassurance was when I was in college and I had this group of girlfriends and we would go out or go to frat parties. And the one thing I absolutely hated more than anything was we would all not we, because I'm not going to include me because I didn't do it, but all of them, we would call each other and ask what the other person was wearing. Like, it annoyed me to no end. And I can remember quite often, not answering. I just would not answer because they would call, well, what are you wearing? And what are you wearing? And what are you wearing? And they just needed this constant, well, if you're wearing black, I'm going to wear white. Or if you're wearing pink and I'm going to wear, I'm just like, just wear what you want to wear. Like, why do you need all of our reassurance to wear that? Or I'm going to wear, my shoulders out, or I'm going to wear heels, or I'm going to wear flats. Oh, it just drove me bonkers. So it drives me bonkers in women. It really drives me bonkers in a man. It is so unattractive, this constant need for reassurance or reaffirming, right? It's one thing to say, oh, I was thinking about ordering the salmon, but that chicken looks really good. I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Okay, well, I mean, do you like fish as opposed to chicken? But when a person does that with everything, it's unattractive. But understand, the covert narcissist will fish for compliments. They will need to be reassured. And again, it'll initially come off as it seems humble. It seems, I don't know. It doesn't seem as bad. And then when they keep doing it, you're like, ugh, that insecurity kind of, it's not okay. So, we're on number 5. Ooh, and this is my number 1. Ooh, this is my number 1 turn off. This is number 1 on my don't want list. It is passive aggressiveness. So the covert narcissist is classically passive aggressive. They are so uncomfortable with being direct and assertive, with letting people know when they're upset, letting people know what their needs are, letting people know that they want to see them, or directly asking a person out on a date. They're just passive aggressive at every turn. And you're going to hear things like, well, I'm going to be off tomorrow night And, I really don't have anything planned. I really am not going to be doing anything. Like all these hints thrown at you so that you can say, well, we should do something, or maybe we should go to the movies, or should I come over, or do you want to come over? Like, no, that just irritates me to no end. If you want to do something, ask me out to do something. If you are not going into work, I want you to very assertively say, I'd love it if we could spend time together doing X, Y, and Z. That's even better. Like plan something and make me aware of it and communicate it. But the covert narcissist does not do that. They are passive aggressive to no end. And again, this stems from insecurity. This stems from a lack of healthy communication, healthy assertive communication, and really making their needs known. One thing I will say about the overt narcissist is they will make their needs known. They'll be pretty direct about what they expect, what they want, what they don't want. But the covert narcissist is more passive aggressive with it. And it is unattractive. Number 6, they will go into deep shutdowns. So again, when trying to avoid conflict, they will go into deep shutdowns. If you are trying to be direct and assertive with them, if you are trying to very directly address issues or problems or concerns, they're going to shut down. I can remember being on a walk with the last person I dated and, trying to talk about something, and it just, I guess he got flooded, he got overwhelmed. And by the end of it, he was just like, I'm done talking. And then I was like, well, perhaps we can talk about this later. No, I don't want to talk about this ever. Like, I'm done talking. Do not say anything else to me for the rest of the night. I'm done. Okay, so, can we take a break? What's happening here? Nothing. I'm just done. And so that can go on for days, for weeks. And it is never okay. I have to explain to people that this stonewalling, okay, one of John Gottman's, one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, just the signs that a relationship's in trouble. Stonewalling is one of them, where a person just emotionally, this is basically a form of emotional abuse, where they just, emotionally check out. They're like, I'm done. I'm not talking to you. I'm not acknowledging you. I'm not emotionally available to you. I'm just done. No. Do not let this happen to you. Make it very clear that's never an option. And in my household and with the people I date, I make it very clear. There will be no stonewalling. There will never be a time where we're not talking. I don't do that. People have tried, people in my family have tried. They've tried to give me the cold shoulder and stonewall me, and I just keep coming. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to acknowledge you. I'm going to say, good morning. Oh, have a good sleep. Good night. I'm going to keep talking to you because that's just not how I work. You're not going to emotionally shut me out. I'm not going to emotionally shut you out. Even when we disagree, even when there's conflict, even when I'm annoyed, I'm going to continue to talk with you. I'm going to continue to be emotionally available to you. That's just who I am. That's how I work. But the covert narcissist will shut down. They will withdraw emotionally from you, and it can go for days or weeks. So, yeah, that one doesn't work for me either, but okay. Number 7. They often have a victim mentality. They are classic blamers. And ladies, please always remember this. This is something you should be able to determine very early on. There's no excuse. I've been on a first date. I've been on a first phone call. And when I hear blaming, when I hear it was everybody else but me, every other relationship, every other wife, every other girlfriend is the problem but me, that is the biggest yellow/red. I'll honestly say now it's a red flag for me. I kind of don't go any further. But that's a big one. That's a big one. And there's no excuse, ladies. You oftentimes get this on the first date or the first phone call. You get some sort of level of blaming, right? If you talk about ex relationships or problems with work or anything, if a person knee-jerks to blaming, if they knee-jerk to, I'm the victim, everybody's doing something to me, I can't be held accountable, I had no part in it. Like my classic question when a person goes to blaming, I say, okay, let's say they're responsible for 97% of the problem. What's your 3%? Let's say 3% of the relationship failure is you. What do you think it is? And if they can't tell me, I'm done. I'm done. Like, nope, I do not pass go, do not collect $200, because that is a person who suffers from a victim mentality. And here's the thing. If it's everybody else, one day it's going to be you. You're going to be the problem. So just don't do it to yourself. The victim mentality, that is the sign of a covert narcissist. And they're going to come to you with the sob story. They're going to make it seem like they're so sweet and kind and nice, and I'm just such a good guy, and I don't understand why, all my girlfriends cheat on me, all my wives mistreat me. It's them. They're not holding themselves accountable. Don't fall for it. Number 8, poor listening skills. And let me tell you, I told my ex not very long ago when we had a very radically honest conversation, and I believe I was gentle, but I did say what was my truth. I said, you don't listen. You don't listen. And what I meant by that was I will say things, I will set up boundaries, I will express feelings, and as soon as that conversation is over, it's like it never was said. It's like it never happened. And let me tell you something. You have to really work hard not to listen to me. Like, you have to work really hard. The person that I am is very direct, very assertive. I have written letters. I have created bulleted lists. I have spoken in a way that was succinct and direct to a man. And so if after all that, you're still talking like I didn't say any of that, it's you. It's you, because I'm what's called an over communicator. I am an over communicator. So no, you're just not listening. You're hearing that I'm talking. You're hearing that words are said, but you're not really either you're not understanding, or you are purposefully not listening. You're not comprehending. You're not taking in the information and really mulling it over. Like, you're just like, oh, Anita's mouth is moving, da, 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 da. And then when I'm done, it's like, she didn't, I don't know what she said, or what she said isn't important. I mean, whatever. But very poor listening skills. You will find yourself expressing things, expressing feelings, saying things about yourself, what your wants and needs are. Oh, this is my love language. I can remember saying over and over and over for years what my love language was. Then I got even more specific as to how you could meet it. And it was still a struggle. It was still a struggle. And I was like, you know what? It's okay. I am not going to continue with this person because something is really wrong. That you're telling a person this is the love language. Here are a few ways that you could meet it. And it never happened. It rarely happened. And quite the opposite. That's what was like the real kick, is quite the opposite would happen. So it's kind of like you telling a person, quality time is my love language. So some of the things that really light me up are just grocery shopping together, or going to the store together, taking walks. I like nature. I love animals, love going to the dog park. and love watching movies or watching shows together, and just, having that one-on-one quality time. No phones. Phones are put down. Those are the things I really loved. Love doing yard work together, all that fun stuff, right? Cooking a meal together. And you express that, and then the next day they come home with a gift. There you go. Or they want to give you a hug. Or they want to, oh, you look very pretty, right? In passing. Now, remember, they're not spending any time. They're just coming and going. Oh, you look pretty. Oh, that's a nice dress. Or, oh, here's a gift. Or, oh, here's a hug. And yet you're not getting any quality time. And more specifically, you're not getting any of the things that you suggested when, you were expressing what you needed. You're not getting the trips to the grocery store. You're not getting the watching a show together. You're not getting the cooking together. You're not getting walks. You're not getting working in the yard. So that's a big, big sign a person isn't listening. And so I often would tell people that when this would happen, especially men that I dated, I said, okay, it's one of two things. You're not listening, or you're hearing and you're not going to do it. Like, you're a jerk. You've already made up your mind. It doesn't matter what I say I need. You're not going to provide it. So which is it? It's neither one. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Well, I'm not going to stick around to find out. But poor listening skills. So if you're not feeling heard, you're not seeing the fruit of that, there's no real change or no real, yeah. Number 9, they drain emotional energy in a social situation. And so sometimes this may mean that if they're not the center of attention, if they're not getting all of your attention, they're going to suck the life right out of that room. If you are the life of the party, if you look better than them, if you leave them to go and, chat with your friends or chat with your coworkers, if they're in a mood, they want everyone, like they want everything and everyone to stop and address the fact that they're in a mood. They don't feel good. Oh, I'm feeling bad about something. I want all the attention on me. But yes, they will just kind of drain that emotional energy. They may come over and they cannot be cheered up, but yet they want to kind of bring you down with them. So be aware of this, okay? That's number 9. Number 10, cynical regarding others' successes. So covert narcissists are classic haters. They are classic haters. They're going to hate on other people. They're going to be extremely cynical when it comes to other people's successes and, other people maybe having the things that they don't, or in really enjoying their work or being successful in whatever it is they're doing. They are going to be very cynical about that. And again, they're not going to come off as overtly nasty. That's what's so different about the covert narcissist. They're not going to come off as just this nasty, overtly, angry person, but they will throw in some jabs here and there. Okay. Lastly, number 11, they will self-sabotage. And so they may want to be in a relationship, a loving relationship. They may want to be married. They may want to have success in their work, but they will also do things that ensure they won't have it. They will do the opposite of what they say they want. And I have seen this play out over and over, where I was like, okay, so you say you want this healthy relationship, but here's the thing. I think that's going to require you to learn the skills necessary to have that healthy relationship. Like, it isn't just you're going to snap your fingers. It is going to require you to change and grow and learn skills necessary to actually have a healthy, happy, long-term relationship. If you continue to have failed or broken relationships over and over and over and over and over, it's you. There are things that you need to do, or things that you need to learn, or ways that you need to be different so that you can have successful relationships. One of the qualities, ladies, that I talk to my clients all the time, I say a man should be teachable. He should be teachable. He should come in wanting to learn and grow and progress and evolve. And think about this. Every woman is different. Every woman that he's in relationship with is different. And so he should come in ready to learn about this specific woman. He should come in ready to listen. He should come in ready to say, okay, she has a different love language than the last woman I dated. Now I have to learn a little bit about this. He should come in teachable. He should be willing and able to learn and grow with this person. And there may be habits that he has that maybe he's had them over a long period of time, but now he's recognizing, okay, this habit that I have, it isn't working. Like this, several women have talked to me about this. This might be something that I want to work on. I might want to lay this down. And he's willing to do that, right? If he's coming into couples counseling, he's willing to have his beliefs, uprooted. He's willing to experience what we call the paradigm shift. So his way and his belief about something that has been relatively static all this time, he's willing to try something different because how he's been thinking and what he's been doing isn't working. He's not happy. His wife is not happy. His girlfriend's not happy. So now he's like, okay, I got to try something different because what I'm doing isn't working. So open and receptive in the sense of he's teachable, right? He's teachable. He's agreeable. That is a really underrated quality. But you want someone who's teachable. And a lot of covert narcissists, like I said, they are stuck. They are your classic stuck people. Your classic stuck man. He has been doing the same thing over and over and over, getting the same result over and over and over. You can't tell him anything. He will not grow. He will not learn. He is just stuck. But he is also in the cycle of just self-sabotaging. He will meet some really wonderful people. And I thought this was so interesting about my last ex. He had met some wonderful women, but he could not maintain any of these relationships. He was either overly critical, very passive aggressive, did not listen, was not teachable. I mean, he believed, and I've heard this before, I've heard other men say this too, and they are stuck. They will say things like, well, this is who I am, this is how I do it, and the woman for me, all of this will be fine. All of this will be fine. I'm like, well, you've had 10 women and all of them have said no. Okay. All of them have said pass. Well, then they're not the women for me. Like they're stuck in this mindset that this perfect woman who was born on the planet made just for them, and that they're going to kind of accept all of the ways that they have, whether they're toxic or not, because a lot of these men have some toxic ways, but yet, the woman who's for me, she's going to be okay with it. She's going to be okay with me being friends with my ex-wife. She's going to be okay with, some of the crazy codependent stuff that I do. And the fact that you're not okay with it just means you're not the one. You're not the person for me. No, you are just stuck. My dear, you're just stuck. You're stuck in your ways. You refuse to see that you might be the problem. You refuse to see that you might need to grow and change and learn something new. And I got to let you go off and experience 5 more relationships that don't work out. And guess what? You still may not change. You still may not change. You may be stuck in your ways 15 years from now saying, well, none of those women were the one. They didn't put up with, how I am. And the one for me will put up with everything, that I do and all the ways that I have. It'll be fine for her because she's the one, So no, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. There is no perfect person for you. I do not believe in, there is only one or the one. There's only one perfect person for you. People in general are infallible. They are, they're not perfect. They got their stuff. And honestly, you find someone whose stuff, complements your stuff, and that you can manage their stuff, and that they're growing and healing their stuff, and you can manage their stuff. That's it. But they're not going to come to you perfectly healed. You're not going to be perfectly healed. That's just what it is. But this covert narcissism does not get enough. It doesn't get enough attention. And there are a lot of wounded, broken people that do suffer from this covert narcissism. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about this in this week's podcast. Because again, I don't think this subject gets enough attention. But some of these signs, ladies, you can see within the first 3 dates. And you know what I say? 3 dates. You give a man 3 dates, so you're going to talk with him on the phone and you're going to text with him, but 3 face-to-face get-togethers. And I really need you to be assessing. The first 3 dates, you are assessing this person. You're asking good questions. You're asking good open-ended questions, and you're looking for some of these traits. And like I said, my number one is passive aggressiveness. If a man comes off passive aggressive, I'm done. I have learned the hard way. That is something I don't enjoy. I don't respect it. It's a total turnoff. So as soon as I sense it, as soon as I sense a man beating around the bush about getting together, or just making passive aggressive comments about why I didn't call him right back, why I didn't text him right back. This is an example. So he calls or he texts, I'm in a session with a client, and that's a whole 55 minutes. And then when I do return the call or the text, or we do see each other, oh, I guess you were really busy today. I guess, you really had a lot going on today and you couldn't get back to me. Oh, yuck. I'm done. That's it. That's all I got to hear, and I'm done. That is a total turnoff for me. I have a 0 tolerance for men that are passive aggressive. Or even things like we're out somewhere and a male friend comes over and says, hey, how are you doing? Oh, this is your friend so-and-so. Oh, great, whatever. And then they leave, and then you get a lot of passive aggressive comments. Oh, so your little boyfriend who came over and spoke to us, or, oh, so yeah, I guess I can assume you dated him, yuck. It is just so unattractive. But you're going to see this sooner rather than later. You're going to see some of these signs. And you don't have to get in deep. You don't have to be 6 months in or a year in. No, these things are going to come out in the first 3 dates. You don't want to see them, but they're there. I have been on many a first date, and that's why it was only 1 date, because I'm seeing these things and I'm saying, that's okay. I don't need to go any further. Like, once I see some of these things, I'm kind of over it. And here's another thing that I had a client say to me the other day when we were talking about this subject. She says, well, Anita, that's so harsh. What if a person is having a bad day? Like, what if you catch them on an off day? What if they're having a bad day and you're saying, man, I saw this, this victim mentality, or this smugness, this highly critical of others. I saw all this on a first date. Okay, that's why I'm giving you 3. I'm giving you 3 dates, because 3 constitutes a pattern. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a pattern, right? So if I went out with a man and on a first date, but I'm going to be honest with you all. If I see passive aggressiveness on a first date, that's a wrap for me. I'm just done. That's how, serious I am about that trait. I just don't want it. But let's say he was critical. He was critical of someone, or he seemed a little sensitive, or he was nervous on the first date, so he needed more reassurance. Okay, maybe that first date I'd go, okay, I noticed these things, but we're going to go out again, or we're going to keep talking on the phone. Let's see what happens. And then second date, third date. And if I see any patterns, that's what we're looking for. So if I see a touch of it on the first date and then it shows up again on the second date, or it shows up again in a phone call, or it shows up again on the third date, that's a pattern. That's who that person is. That's what they do. Definitely passive aggressiveness. It's a pattern. Most people don't use passive aggressiveness once or twice. That is their way of communicating. And so I noticed that I had a habit of doing it. So I started checking myself. I was like, okay, don't do that. Don't do that. You need to be direct. Or you need to keep quiet. Those are your only options. But this passive aggressiveness thing, that's not an option. Don't do that. So I've been checking it even with myself and really working on that, because it's just something that's unattractive. It's just unattractive. So, but we're looking for patterns, ladies. So there are 11 things on this list. And I would honestly say, if you saw 5 of them or 6 of them, and again, if you saw them come up again and again and again, okay, there you go. You have a pattern. There is some covert narcissistic trait here. And here's the thing about narcissistic trait. It is, you're not going to love them out of it. That's probably the hardest thing for you to hear. Your love, your kindness, your, sweetness, your grace, all of those wonderful qualities. No. You're not going to love them out of it. That's just not how it works. And if you continue on a path with a person with narcissistic trait, you are going to hurt yourself. And remember, it is your number one job to protect you. That's your number one job, is you're in charge of protecting you. You don't give that job to anyone other than your husband. And unless your husband has some, severely toxic traits or addictive traits or narcissistic traits, and then you got to take that back, and then that's another conversation you have to have. But as a single woman, that's your job. Your job is to protect yourself. Your job is to vet and qualify every man you meet. I don't care if you met him in church. I don't care if you met him online. I don't care if your auntie introduced you to him. I don't care. I don't care how you met him, when you met him, where you met him. You vet and qualify every man you meet. And you have a set of standards and requirements that you run him through. And then you let time. Time is the great equalizer. If you just take your time, if you're just patient, that will reveal all too. But yes, you are in charge of protecting yourself. So do just that. And understand that if you see 5 or 6 of these qualities on this 11, then you know what you're dealing with. Don't do it. Do not do it. Don't think you're going to love him out of it. And I'm just so special that I can heal him. No, you cannot. No, you can't. That narcissistic trait, that thing is serious. It's dangerous. It's as dangerous as a physical abuser. Just don't do it. Don't go there. Okay? Turn on your heels and leave. And just heal. Heal from it and move on, but be wise. Be wise. There's a reason why, God wants us to forgive, but we technically don't forget, because those memories serve as a protection for us. Okay. All right. I hope this episode was helpful. I am still continuing to work on getting the new book out, and I actually have a title. I'm gonna have to look it up here. That's sad that I can't even remember the title of my book. Okay, so I finally have a title for you all. The book is coming out in January. It is called Choose Well, a simple formula to attract the best man for you. I am super excited about this project because I do believe it is the first step. It is the first step in the 2-step process of having that relationship that you really want, having that happy, healthy, emotionally strong, long-term, fulfilling relationship. This is part 1. which is choose well. This is going to help you create your personalized blueprint for choosing that partner, attracting and choosing that partner that is going to be your best fit. That's the first part. And then I'm going to follow it up with the next book, but I will talk about that later. But the first one is called Choose Well, a simple formula to attract the best man for you. So super excited. Please look out for the link that will be coming out shortly so that you can pre-order that book. It's just a little handbook that I hope is going to help you to get really, really clear on what that man looks like for you and using those 3 lists, okay? Thank you so much for joining me for this week's episode. And as always, stay open to love.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. If you are enjoying this podcast, please leave me a 5-star rating and review. Your ratings and reviews help me to continue to bring you more great content. Head on over to YouTube and check out the Better Love Movement channel. There's more video content there, and you can subscribe to be notified when a new video is posted. If you have a question that you would like to have answered on the podcast or in a YouTube video, please send it to me at info@betterlovemovement.com. You can also connect with me directly on the Magnify app to have your dating and relationship questions answered. That's MAGNIFI, and it's available on iOS and Android. You get your first 5 minutes for free. So give me a call and let's chat.